Welcome to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. And to our viewers at home, today's show is all about market volatility, and I think we're all concerned about that. So stay tuned. You're going to enjoy today's show. Greg, how are you today?
I'm doing great, but that market volatility, don't let that, get you all worried and things like that, right? We're going to have fun today.
We are going to have fun today because we always have fun, and you always give such confidence and peace of mind to the viewers at home. Kristen, how are you today?
He just started off all positive, didn't he?
He's always positive.
Let's see what he says, though.
Exactly. We are both always such a breath of fresh air, truly. And obviously, today's topic, this is very interesting because we've heard for years that as you get closer to retirement, you should kind of limit your exposure to the stock market, if you will. We've talked a lot about fixed income, and honestly, when you look at it, the 60-40 portfolio had its worst year last year since let me put my glasses on, 36. How can this impact retirees or those getting close to retirement, Greg?
Well, it can impact us because it impacts our decision making.
Yeah.
When we either feel the need for greed, the idea the market's going so well, we feel the need that it's that FOMO, the fear of missing out.
Sure. Cameron has FOMO with everything.
Oh, yes, our middle son, he does not like to miss out.
He doesn't want to go to bed until 1, 2 in the morning. He might miss out on something fun with his friends, a game or something like that. He has major FOMO. But the margin for mistakes, the margin for error is very slim in retirement when it comes to portfolio management. Because as you reach those retirement years, you have less time on your side to work to make up for those losses. So letting that sink in, and it's not to make you afraid like Greg started off by saying, but it's just to make you think and ponder on that, okay? If I have less time to work and make up for those losses, what can I do instead?
Sure.
So what's the Fed been doing? The Fed's been consistently raising interest rates, and doing all those things to try to get the economy under control. Now, what does under control actually mean? Well, to lessen the spike and the pace of inflation, to reduce the inflation that we're experiencing. And reducing the inflation doesn't mean that prices are lowering, though. It just means that the pace at which they're rising is slowing down. And that's important to note as we're trying to figure things out in our personal economy.
Sure.
And when it comes to our personal economy, what we want people to do is have a game plan in the midst of all this craziness that you can be successful in any economy. And is that actually possible? Because that sounds sometimes like a pipe dream. Can I be successful in any economy? And I believe the answer to that is yes, but you have to compartmentalize things. There really needs to be a space where we have some safe money.
Okay.
And by safe money, what I'm talking about is a place where we have that liquidity.
Okay.
It's safe. And that's typically money that we would find in our bank accounts. In our bank, well, least interest is, right now paying a decent rate for money that's in savings or money market or CDs right now. And so it's not quite so painful to have money there right now. And having that, and for most families that are retired, my minimum that I would like to see in place is $50,000 because that helps you with needs, wants, and emergencies.
Sure.
But there's always a need for income. And whatever that income need is as a retiree, as you compartmentalize that separately, you realize that there's certain things that are better at creating a protected income stream than other things.
Okay.
So we want to put what we need in that space so we can get the income we need. So once you have liquidity for your emergencies and you have the income you have that you need coming in every single month and you feel confident in that, now we can go to growth. Now, what's the trouble in the growth world? In the growth world is stocks, it's bonds, it's mutual funds, it's ETFs, exchange traded funds. It could be commodities, it could be alternative investments like venture capital or private equity, those types of things. That's all within that growth world. And the thing we know about the growth world is that it's going to go up and down.
Yes.
There's never been a time in our market where the growth world has not gone up and down.
That's true.
There was one 10-year span in the 90s where it primarily just went up. In fact, if you couldn't make 20% in a mutual fund, then you were doing something wrong. But that was one 10-year stretch out of all these decades, and otherwise we've just seen an up and down roller coaster market. The problem is, Cynthia, when we're depending too much on any one world of money, we can get depressed.
Absolutely.
Well, and I think what you just said was don't be extreme, be intentional, right?
Yeah, I said that.
Yeah, I mean, well, and it's funny, as he was talking there, I thought, gosh, this sounds like a marital conversation we had the other day, because I have a high propensity to just take an extreme, you know, throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Yeah.
Not literally, I've never done that.
No.
Don't call 616 kids. But, you know, I am extreme. I'm like, okay, this isn't working, shift over here.
Yeah.
And I think what Greg's trying to get across, and he does a really good job of this, I have to give you props for once. I'm not
thank
making fun
you.
of you, I'm
Yeah.
giving you props, is that it's a calming side of, okay, I can do this by compartmentalizing. And as a mom and a working mom, I'm sure you understand this. I mean, the other day we were having a conversation and he's like, Kristen, you've just got to compartmentalize. I'm like, I've got to get this one to practice, and we've got homecoming, and I've got this, and I need to help this one study for a test, and we've got exams coming up in a couple weeks. And he's like, take it one step at a time.
Absolutely.
Figure out what you need to do in this area, what you need to get your ducks in a row. And I think if we do that with retirement, we can avoid some of the pitfalls that end up happening, because so often we see people come into our office. I mean, just in the last couple of years where the markets were down, take it all out of the market and put it into savings. Well, then you don't do anything. You just sit there with the savings, and then, I missed the rebound. So I locked in all those losses that my account experienced. Or the opposite, you know, the market's way up, so you take everything out of savings, and then when the market drops, oh no, I don't have money in my savings to pay for things that I need to pay for. I have to pull it out of a down account.
That's true.
When it drops. So making sure you've got a steady plan and not taking things to the extreme. What is that, 0 to 100, you tell me? Kristen, you went from 0 to 100 there.
And that happens, but you know, we recently started working with a family, Cynthia, great family. We're just privileged to have that opportunity. They came in, they're in their early 60s, they're going to retire in a year, and they'd done well saving, almost $2 million. And they came in because, you know, in 2022, they took a beating. They lost over 20%. And when they came in, they had almost broken back even, not quite, but they'd pulled back up and they'd recovered a lot of the losses. And they came in and said, you know, we just don't have the stomach for this anymore. That this roller coaster ride. And so we hear you talking about your 3 buckets, Greg, and it makes sense to us that we use the 3 buckets. And you know, it's a very simple conversation, but it's a very purposeful plan. And so what we set out for them is we really determined what it was they needed for income. And in their case, they needed an additional $50,000 a year. So we found the absolute least amount of money to fund their income bucket, and we purposefully placed that money in the income bucket to provide that $50,000 a year that they could count on. In their case, they wanted $100,000 in their sleep well at night money, so they kept $100,000 there for needs, wants, and emergencies. We funded what they needed in their income bucket, which was a little over $800,000, and that left them right at $1 million for growth.
Okay.
And all of a sudden, when we're all said and done, their whole demeanor changed, not because of some magic bullet we have, because there is no such thing.
Right.
But they could understand, I've got money in the bank, we have all the income we need to support our lifestyle, and now the money we have on Wall Street, we know we can afford the ups and downs that will be there because we don't need to depend on it each and every day. And that is the key to a successful retirement plan. How can they succeed in any economy? Because we can't control the economy.
Right.
But what we can control is how we purposefully place people's money to provide the confidence that they need.
Greg and Kristen, this is the perfect time for us to take a commercial break. Would you both agree?
Yes.
To our viewers at home, the number to call is on your screen, 614-336-7660. What you're calling in for today is a complimentary portfolio review, an x-ray, if you will. Let Greg and Kristen take a look at what you currently have in place for your retirement. Are you taking too much risk? One of the things that we talked about today, of course, is growth. But sometimes with growth, there can be too much risk. This would be the perfect opportunity for you to know exactly where you stand. This is your retirement. You've worked your entire life to get to the retirement years, and you deserve to have peace of mind and confidence. That number again for that complimentary portfolio x-ray is 614-336-7660. Or if you have your smartphone handy, go ahead, grab that. Click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to Greg and Kristen's landing page. We're going to take a very short commercial break here on Winning Retirement TV. Don't go anywhere. We're talking about market volatility and how this can impact your retirement. Stay tuned.
I'm sometimes nervous when I don't know exactly what to expect. I find that there's a little hesitation in folks to want to go meet with an advisor. Maybe they're not sure of how they've done compared to others, but it's really our job to just sit down and have a conversation. There's an advisor for almost every street corner here in our city. At Legacy Retirement Group, we believe that if you plan smart, you can retire well. We want you to be successful in any economy. And how do you accomplish that in today's world? Well, we first want to look at the principles by which we're playing. You know, no investment decision should ever be made outside the context of your plan. Then your plan determines your positions and what you hold in retirement. We want you to manage risk. We want you to not be surprised by healthcare costs or inflation or taxes. We don't want those to derail your retirement, and our focus has always been consistency and efficiency. Really trying to maintain what it is that we've spent our lifetime accumulating and now transitioning that into a plan, transitioning that into something that feels secure and gives me peace of mind so that I know I'm not going to outlive my money. It's nice to see that relief in people's faces when you can tell they're confident in their plan.
Greg really gets pleasure out of seeing our clients' success.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. And we have a wonderful viewer question. And the reason I'm going to ask you this question right now is because obviously many retirees were very shocked that they experienced these record downturns in their portfolios last year. One viewer actually called in and said, Greg and Kristen, how do you know what type of portfolio you actually have? I've always felt that I was very conservative as an investor, and yet my portfolio is down over 20% last year. Is there a way for me to have a better grasp on how much risk I am actually exposed to? Perfect question.
It is, and it's so hard to define for people, you know, just ordinary investors, where do I stand between risk and return?
Yeah.
And that trade-off. And so we've begun to work over the last year or so, maybe a year and a half, with a program that allows us to measure risk in a different way than we were really ever able to before. So this is me, Greg Taylor, embracing technology, okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Mark it down.
I know, I was going to say we should write this down.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
And so what we're able to do is measure every investment between a 1 and a 99. And as we're able to look at trade-offs between what we're comfortable with in the how much it can drop versus how much it can gain landscape, that helps us determine what someone's comfort level is or what their risk score is. And so as we start going into this, we realize, okay, there's not many that are a 99.
Okay.
And we've never had anybody score as low as a 1. But wherever you fit in between there, it's important that you have a portfolio that's designed to stay within your range. And what that does when we go in, it's like a financial eye exam.
Okay.
And I'll say, which do you like better? This one or that one?
Yeah.
Which one do you like better? This one or this one? This one or this one? And you know, after you've gone through 3 or 4 renditions of this, you come down to a place where you've really pinpointed someone's comfort level. They're able to see clearly, no pun intended,
That was
they're able to see clearly what they're comfortable with. And it's more than just, are you conservative? Are you moderate? Are you growth? Are you aggressive? I don't really find many people that say they're aggressive. We have a few,
Yeah.
but not many.
Well, and I think it's important, too, to go back to the last segment where you were talking about compartmentalizing here, because understanding that if you're in the market, there's going to be some volatility.
Of course.
I mean, and I think that conversation doesn't always take place, or maybe gets forgotten about.
Yeah.
When we've met with people who, we're doing that portfolio X-ray for, and it almost makes you throw them back a little bit when you realize how much risk you actually have. But if you have a plan that's well compartmentalized, where you have money in the bank and you have money protected for your income, and then you have money for growth, then when the market does what it's going to do, it's going to go up and down, you have a little more peace of mind that you're going to be okay, because you have money in different areas to take care of those needs.
Absolutely.
You really do. And when you look at what type of portfolio you have, once you've determined the risk versus return, the other thing, Cynthia, that's important is, what is it comprised of? Because a lot of times we're invested in mutual funds.
Okay.
Well, mutual fund managers have to follow a very disciplined approach as far as what they're investing in. For instance, if I'm in a large cap growth mutual fund, now that large cap growth mutual fund manager has the ability to change what type of which stocks he invests in within that mutual fund, but he has to continually invest in large cap growth stocks. He can't say, well, I'm going to put half of it in T-bills for a short period of time while large cap growth stocks are volatile. They don't have that option. So it's by the type of account you're in, it somewhat limits the manager that's managing it.
Okay.
They don't have as much discretion as to what they can actually invest in. So you might have a wide range of mutual funds within your portfolio, but each of those managers is somewhat limited to how much flexibility they have within that portfolio. So just the design of a mutual fund can somewhat limit the productivity of your portfolio. Not to mention the internal fees that can be inside.
Sure.
So the fees plus the limitations can sometimes really thwart what happens within a mutual fund portfolio. If you have variable annuities, for instance, then variable annuities typically, the typical one will have fees somewhere between 3 and 5% annually.
Okay.
So even if you have mutual funds inside that they call sub-accounts that are doing fairly well, when you put that heavy weight of that amount of fees on those portfolios, it makes it very, very difficult to be successful. So the structure of what you're in can sometimes really thwart your success, not just your risk score, but now also the types of investments that you're in.
Wow. Okay. Very important to know, because like you
Yes.
mentioned, people need to understand how comfortable they are with how much they would lose if the stock market twists and turns. So obviously that portfolio X-ray is so important. Greg, you and Kristen have a very special offer. Let's talk about what that is before we revisit the phones.
Yeah, so when we do this portfolio X-ray, Cynthia, it's more than just, looking at their portfolio and seeing, okay, is it a good one or is it a bad one? Because there's really not necessarily just good and bad investments. It's, are these investments appropriate for what you're trying to achieve? So that's really what we're trying to really accomplish right with that. And ultimately, our goal is for each and every family to just be able to say, okay, this fits my need and I can understand why I'm there. So the people that call in for the portfolio X-ray, it's really more about their written plan, knowing that they have the right risk, knowing that they have the right income, knowing that taxes are looked at and healthcare and their legacy plan, all of it fitting together into a written plan that they feel comfortable with.
Greg, thank you so much. Kristen, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is on your screen, 614-336-7660. If you're sitting in the viewing audience today and you're asking yourself or you're asking your spouse, do we know how much risk we're actually taking? And if you don't know the answer, this is the perfect opportunity for you to call in and take advantage of this complimentary portfolio X-ray. Again, 614-336-7660 is the number to call in, or if you have your smartphone handy, you can go ahead and grab it. Click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. That will take you right to Greg and Kristen's landing page. Remember, you've worked your entire life to get to the retirement years, and you deserve to have the retirement of your dreams. Can you have peace of mind without knowing where you stand from a risk perspective? Probably not. Don't miss the opportunity to call in, 614-336-7660. We'll be right back with a viewer question after this very short commercial break.
Your retirement plan should never be about a transaction. It should always be about a relationship.
I would describe Greg as a very caring person. I'm not just talking about, retirement planning or even our practice. I mean, in general, he has a genuine heart for people.
Well, obviously, I'm married to the most wonderful, beautiful woman in the world, Kristen.
What you can expect from us is a warm family atmosphere.
I mean, they walk into the room, it just lights the room. They're each other's partner in crime. They work really well together and they keep us happy, and we're just like a tight little family here.
Family is obviously the reason we do everything, the reason we do what we do.
What we do is centered around our family. Our staff is like our family too.
We laugh so much in this office.
I love coming to work every single day and spending time with everybody that's in the office.
I like to say that we have a fun office environment.
There's never a dull moment.
Best bosses in the world. I just love my job.
They create a great work-life balance here.
You really have to like the person that you're asking to help you manage your money. And this is going to be a long relationship. Retirement could last as long as your working years.
So I've been working with retirees now since 1993, helping them create plans and strategies to get through retirement. We believe a retirement-focused portfolio should be true to your goals with as little risk as possible.
Welcome back to Winning Retirement Television. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Greg and Kristen Taylor of Legacy Retirement Group. And we have a viewer question. I love these.
Good.
So, Kristen, this question I'm going to guide to you. It says, I am 63 and my wife is 62. We both plan to retire in 2 years, and we have worked with the same broker for 17 years, but we are having a difficult time understanding all of the complexities of retirement, and he doesn't seem to have the answers. We have heard you talk about having a written retirement plan. What does that look like? And are we starting too late? They're 63 and 62.
No, actually, I think now is the best time to start, because as you start looking at moving forward into retirement in 2 years, this is the perfect time. If you wait until you retire, that's when mistakes can be made. So the first step is searching out firms that have fiduciary advisors. So firms that have advisors that have the legal obligation to do what's in your best interest. So that's number one. Number two is just starting with the discovery process. So if you call into our office and want to meet with us, the first step is getting to know you. That's the most fun part about what we do.
is.
Yes.
I love hearing people's stories. Sometimes I'll just get this little nudge when I'm out in public to ask, what's your story? And so hearing about the situation, hearing about your goals and your concerns is the first step. And then understanding the fears, that's important, because we've talked this whole show about market volatility, and that's a big fear in retirement, that your money is going to either run out or be lost to market losses. And uncovering your income needs, that's a big part of that discovery process. So we're doing the math, if you will, during the appointment. We are looking at what your budget is. That sounds like a horrible word, but it's really not that bad. It's really understanding where the money needs to go, and then finding out what you need for your income, what you need to pay yourself to live that lifestyle you expect to live in retirement. And then we just do the math. We find the gap. We find out what we need to do to accomplish that goal.
Sure. And then step two is the testing process. That's where we go, take what we've learned in that discovery process, and then we test what they're currently doing to see, does it make sense for what they're actually trying to accomplish.
Okay.
We Ubered the other day, and there were 5 of us in the Uber, and it was a pretty tight squeeze.
I'm sure.
And so there's 5 of us in this Uber, and really we should have gotten, the Uber Black. We should have gotten a big vehicle so that we had a little bit of elbow room. But I'm trying to figure out, there are buzzers going off. I'm trying to figure out how to button my seat belt, as I'm squeezed next to Kristen in the back. And although that wasn't too bad, being squeezed next to you in the back seat. But ultimately, it wasn't really the right vehicle for where we were trying to go. And we want to test people's portfolios to see, are they in the right vehicle?
Sure.
Yes.
Sure.
Is that vehicle going to be efficient for what they're trying to accomplish? And that's part of the testing process when it comes to risk versus return, when it comes to creating income. Are we looking at a major tax problem later? Could that be a possibility? What about health care? Have they thought about those things? Do they have a legacy plan in place? And is it up to date and all those things? So we're checking to see, is anything slipping through the cracks in any of those areas. So that's the testing process. Then it comes to the planning process, which is someone's written plan. We want them to have a good, solid investment plan for retirement. And look, a retirement investment plan is different than a financial plan.
Okay.
Because financial plans for the young people that are growing over time, a retirement plan is for those over 55 who are getting ready to prepare for retirement or who are getting ready to retire. So an investment plan, an income plan, a tax plan, a health care plan, and a legacy plan. And if any of those slip through the cracks, it could be a major problem for that family.
Absolutely. How long does the planning process take? I know a lot of people in the viewing audience are probably wondering that question. Kristen, what does that process look like from that first consultation to actually designing that plan?
Yeah, so it starts with a phone call, of course, where we gather information, and then that first meeting, we'll go over the information that you want to provide to us, all the goals that you have, and then the second appointment is where we are looking over the portfolio and what was tested and looking at what things could be done to make your plan more efficient. And then from there, we start the implementation process. And that looks different for different families. Sometimes we're starting small and we're working through the different problems to make sure things are in place in order for you to retire successfully. Sometimes we're knocking it all out at once because you've already retired and we're trying to make sure that things are good so that there aren't any mistakes to be fixed throughout your retirement years. So that process does change a little bit from family to family. It's not a one-size-fits-all, but overall, it's just a couple weeks of getting started.
You know, Kristen, you mentioned that it starts with a phone call, but what if someone isn't that comfortable with calling?
Oh, well, you know, actually right from our website, legacyretirementgroup.com, or from the QR code right on the screen, you can get to our Calendly calendar.
Love that.
Where you are able to book at your own leisure. There's just a few questions you fill out and answer, and then you'll be matched with someone on our team. Of course, we have Greg and we have Brent in our office, or just scheduling a discovery call right from that link. Any of those ways you can get in contact with us.
Kristen, thank you so much. Greg, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, most specifically, thank you for spending time with us today on Winning Retirement Television. You've worked your entire life to get to the retirement years, and you deserve to have the retirement of your dreams. 614-336-7660, or grab your smartphone, click on that QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. Be safe, be happy, and be blessed. We'll see you back 1 week from today on Winning Retirement Television with Greg and Kristen Taylor.